Hello everyone, my name is Christian, welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are doing the next Withering Watchpile episode. The theme this week is 70s Japanese cult films. There are many different genres in the 70s, such as pinky violence, which is one I know nothing about, except that it's female-led, and there's a lot of nudity and awesome blood, but I actually had one from that genre this week. But, welcome back, Leon.
Thanks for having me, Christian, man. It's always a blast to join here and we talk some good or bad films. I'm pretty excited for this because I haven't seen too many 70s cult Japanese films. So, like, it's got me curious. I got to experience a lot. Well, a few there. And I can't wait to talk about them, man.
Yeah, all of mine were blind buys. Well, not blind buys. I guess they were blind buys when I bought them. But all of these were blind watches, as in I'd never seen any of these before. They were all movies I own. That never happens on here. Usually I'm like, okay, two of these movies sucked. I'm just going to rewatch a favorite. And I do. This time I was like, I'm going to try and not do that. And all of them were awesome. And it was really hard to rank them. I don't know about you.
There was two of them that were neck to neck. I had to like pretty much go to the last minute to decide on that one. But the first one I'm comfortable with putting it at the decent level, even though I did enjoy it. So it's gonna go from my usual, decent. I'm not even gonna say worse because they were all good. So like decent to amazing, pretty much.
Yeah, mine's probably like from great, which like already is a rare classification on my end when I call a movie I've never seen before great, because usually it requires multiple viewings, especially from Era Video. All of mine are from Era Video. I was kind of shocked. I did not plan that, but they were all really high in terms of quality. The only reason my lowest one is on there is because it's number 6 in the series. And I was like, oh, because I'm supposed to know stuff. But I don't. I was totally lost, but we'll get into that. But first, this is just what I'll be sipping on, but I got really nice Japanese whiskey. It's called Tenjaku Blended Whiskey. And the description kind of blew me away. It says, every bottle of Tenjaku whiskey is a gift from the land that surrounds Mount Fuji. It is created in the city of Fuki, which is located in the eastern part of the Kofu Basin in the Yamanashi district. The heart of this well-balanced whiskey is made with famed natural spring water from the Misaka mountain range, which lends to its minerality. It is extracted from 250 meters below the surface and is filtered through porous volcanic rock. Tenjaku is the Japanese characters for the skylark Hibaru songbird. Now I know why there's a bird here where my pinky is pointing.
Oh yeah, watch.
Oh, okay, maybe you can see it. But now I know why there's a bird
I can
on
see
it. But I read that before I pressed play on this. I was like, oh my god, it's from volcanoes. I was like, this is the real deal. And it's actually from like the Mount Fuji area.
Oh wow.
Which is like really well, known. That's like the capital on all the currency.
There's some water too, Fuji water or something like that.
Yeah, it said it was spring water from 250 meters below the ground. So, sure.
That bottle looks awesome, man. I love the Japanese language on it. The color scheme. It's a real nice
it's pretty
looking
awesome.
bottle.
And the back of it is pretty fine. I mean, it's nutritional stuff. But there's like ridges right here where you can kind of hear it. But
oh yeah, look.
It's kind of crazy, yeah.
That bottle's awesome.
It's only 40%, so hopefully I won't get too drunk off of this. I poured it half in here. I did like half of this cup of Dr. Pepper and a quarter of the cup whiskey. I don't know if that's a crime to mix foreign liquors into Dr. Pepper, but hopefully not. Hopefully I didn't ruin the taste. But I guess I should taste it. I haven't done that. Wow, it's really smooth.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I was waiting for that.
I was waiting for that cough, but no. So I'm going to do a sip because that was actually really powerful.
All right.
Ooh. I don't know who went first last time.
I think I did. I think it's your turn to go first.
Okay, well, let me...
I think so.
I never check beforehand, and every time I think about checking. Because last time was Tromo. Who presented Tromo last time?
Or was it you that went first? I don't remember. Oh, man. Let's flip a coin.
What's my first one? I gotta find my notes for it. Oh, it's in order. That's great. Okay. I have very few notes on this, so I can go.
All right.
So
I honestly don't remember. So
I'm fine if whoever wants to go goes. So, but these are all Era Video stuff again, and this is what I was talking about. This is the 6th movie in the series. I had no idea because Era Video at one point had a giant box set called the Battles Without Honor and Humanity Complete Series. I have the complete trilogy of the new movies. And so, if you don't know, I watched the first movie out of this. The New Battles Without Humanity and Honor. And everyone was hyping this up. And apparently, they were not hyping up this movie. They were hyping up the original. And I didn't see the original. I don't even know where to find it. But I watched the new one. It's from 1974. So, right in the middle. I like this one a lot. But again, I need the context of the original series. We start off with an assassination attempt by a guy named Maki. Maki. And he's an assassin for this gang. And so he runs to the hideout after unsuccessfully killing the guy. And another boss from another gang is like, hey, like, stay there, we'll come and get you. So I was already really confused on the relationship between this guy and everyone else. But I finally got it. I finally got it about halfway through. And that he's an assassin for, like, all these different... is it this movie? No. Not in Shinjuku, the crime city, basically. That's... I'll talk about that more later. But he's basically the assassin for all these different gangs. And it's kind of like the movie Yoshimbo by Akira Kurosawa, where he's getting hired to go kill all these different people back and forth, and slowly whittling down all these different gangs. And there's one guy who is his personal main boss of the Yamamori gang, and they're like a group of Japanese businessmen who, during the war with Korea in like the 60s, I believe, they basically sold all the weapons and ammo and just uniforms, anything, to the Japanese side, and they made a shit ton of money. And so now they basically own this city. And so they keep trying to take out all of the foreigners and mostly Korean people. And there was an interesting note at the beginning of the movie, before the movie actually started, where they said when this movie was released, they had a lot of South Korean just racist usage of terms and stuff, derogatory terms in the dialogue towards all the South Korean people. And when this movie came out, there was kind of a big pushback against that, because this movie came out a whole decade after, the war with Korea. And so they went back and re-recorded those dialogue scenes to just say, oh, you, I don't know, scumbag, or, whatever, you idiot, just your normal insults, instead of the racially charged one. that they had for the South Koreans. So that was one thing. I was like, oh, and that's all I was looking for. Every time there was a dialogue scene, I'm like, where did they replace it? And I found a few of them. But the boss of the Yamamori gang, who is the boss of the assassin, this boss and his wife visit our assassin multiple times. And it's like, hey, you need to kill this other boss named Aoki, who is doing something. I can't really remember why they were killing him. The reason why I didn't take many notes on really any of these movies is because I was sucked into the movie and I forgot about taking notes. So Aoki apparently is like targeting the assassin because he failed to kill his lieutenant, our main character, who I swear, yeah, Maki. Okay, so Maki did not kill the lieutenant of this crime boss Aoki. And so Aoki is like, oh, fuck you. Like, I'm going to try to kill you. And then, so they go kind of back and forth the entire movie. And it's this lovely triangle of gang violence and gang wars as they go against each other. But, the wife of the boss of Yamamori is constantly trying to seduce and bribe our main assassin guy to go kill Aoki. And he's like, oh, I don't really care about him. I don't really want to. And she's like, oh, but not if you do this. And she like tries to blackmail him multiple times, and every time he's like, no. So it's not working on me. But the entire movie is all these different gangs like pulling on this guy, both figuratively and physically. Because there's multiple scenes of multiple gangs fighting against each other. And they're like, what are you doing, assassin? Go fight them. And he's like, no, I'm aligned with these guys. And they go back and forth, and it's awesome. Should be noted that this is a Kenji Fukasaku movie. He's the main guy of the 1970s 70s Japanese cult films. And I learned just recently that he also was the guy who made Battle Royale. I had no idea. I thought that was some guy, because that movie is way after these movies. And I was kind of shocked. But this is my broken case that I have.
Oh, man.
It's a corner, but I opened it, and the thing fell out from the bottom and just clattered on the ground. I was like, oh.
Oh, man.
I was like, so that's 2 cases I got to replace for error video. But yeah, this movie was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and that's my bottom of the list one.
Wow.
So, but the thing that holds it back, of course, is I didn't really know what was going on. They try to keep it simple for new viewers, but again, I looked it up and it was number 6 in this series. So I was like, oh, like with all the same cast members and somewhat the same story. So I was confused.
Does it have the blood spray in it?
Oh yeah,
I love that blood
there's
spray.
so much blood in this movie. Have you seen it?
I haven't, man.
Oh, okay.
Sounds interesting, though. I love those kind of movies, assassins, gangs, all that. Especially in the Japanese, those guys go all out, man, on their films.
Kenji Fukasaku is like the main guy. He like that's all he does is the gang related Yakuza films. But because he also did, well, I can't really talk about it yet, but he did a lot of different series. But this one, the Battles Without Humanity and Honor and Humanity, is the giant series that he did. He did like 9 movies or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wish I had the big box set and not just the later trilogy.
Yeah.
So that's all I have
box
to say.
It out of print?
Yeah.
Box it? Yeah.
Because I try to get that over this one. Because for many sales, I have not gotten this. And I just realized it's not really showing. There we go. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But I realized, like, this was the only one in print unless you wanted to buy these movies individually. And I did not. I want them in a box set, so there's less room that's taken up. And there wasn't So, because I remember there was a big box set that was like that big or whatever. It was like,
Yeah,
it was huge, probably bigger than the Satana collection.
I remember seeing that box set. I do, but I missed out on it too. I don't think I was collecting during that time. So
Yeah, but yeah, that's my first movie.
nice. Sounds interesting. Okay, I'll go to my first movie here. I kind of mixed it up on genres. So I went horror, kind of samurai, and then I went gangster film, mobsters or whatever they're called there. But I'm gonna start off with a horror film. It's my first one, and it was decent. It's directed by, I'm gonna probably slaughter names, so help me out here if I'm slaughtering them. But Michio Yamamoto. It's directed by,
Yeah,
and it's called Evil of Dracula. And this is the only one I have the physical copy of. It's a trilogy.
oh, okay.
Thirsty trilogy.
I've seen that Bloodthirsty trilogy. I've never heard of. Is that Japanese movies?
I hope it is. Let's see.
Cause I've never even looked at that. I've seen it on the site a lot, but
I think it is Japanese. I'm
what the
pretty sure.
fuck? How come I bet there's a Miike film in it. Is there?
It's a No, it's all by the same director, Michio Yamamoto.
Hmm.
And
Adding to the list.
this is horror. This film's about a professor. He takes up a job at an all-girls school, and as he gets there, he starts to notice like odd stuff. There's like a accident that happened, and you got principal whose wife died in the car accident, so she's like missing. And you see the crash site, which is pretty like disturbing too. And then he gets to this school. It's real atmospheric, and he's actually really wanted there. They already know he's like going there. The principal's like, "You're going to replace me. I've been waiting for you." And he's like, "What? I barely met you now. How do you know? You don't know nothing about me." So he starts to suspect this is kind of odd, this school or whatever. And he slowly starts to unwind. Like he starts to have these he's sleeping in the middle of the night, and then he walks and he sees like these ladies just floating in the middle of the hallway.
Ooh.
And it's freaking him out because he's like, is this in my head or is this really happening? And then as he gets closer to one of them, he sees her unleash her fangs and she's a vampire. So he's like terrified. He runs to his room, closes the door, and he starts questioning. So he goes to investigate, and he finds out that the principal has his wife in the basement in her coffin, and he said it's like a ritual they do. So he has her just there. So he gets nosy. He goes down there and opens the coffin, gets busted. But as he's going talking to the principal, you could see the wife kind of like rising up, and her arms are up. It's real creepy, man. But real Hammer like horror. And you see her teeth, just the fangs there. She's a vampire, of course. And it turns out that he has these girls. It's an all-girls school. He's teaching them, and they end up missing. They're starting to disappear and stuff. And he's like real curious. He's investigating and finding out like girls have been disappearing. And then as this is going on, the new girls start to disappear. So he's like, what's going on? You know what I mean? He starts to question everything, his sanity, everything. And it's real cool because you get like this scene where you got one of the vampire girls with a victim, and she cuts her face, like tears it off and puts it on her face. It reminded me a lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm like, yeah, some Chainsaw Massacre homage here. But
what
when she
year
puts
was
it on, this is 1974.
This was before Massacre, right?
Yeah, it was before it.
Wow.
So it's
That's crazy.
So it might have been Texas that got from this film, But I mean, you do get some boobs in this film. It's real tame on the sleeves, but you do see some boobies. But
it's all that matters.
Yeah. What really made this film unique is, I mean, you go to the Hammer films and you see like Peter Cushing, all them with a wooden stake and the cross, and there's no crosses, nothing like that in this film. They're just on their instinct. They're getting pretty much whooped by these vampires because they have no defense. And you see one of the guys just get an axe and that's his weapon. He just throws an axe at him and claws him out of desperation. And and it's just real weird because I've never seen that in a vampire film. You usually get a cross, holy water, you know what I mean, a wooded stake. You don't even see that. It's like makes it really unique. But yeah, this film I compare it to the Hammer films, but like it's in its Japanese style. The makeup's solid, and then you got the guy who plays he's not mentioned as Dracula in this film, but the film is called Evil of Dracula, and you could tell he's a Dracula character, even though it's never mentioned in this film. But his name's Kishida, and they said in Tokyo that he was the Christopher Lee of theirs.
Ooh.
So I guess that was his popular character, was Dracula, and I guess he's in. I haven't seen the 3 films, but there's 3 of them. I don't know if you could see that, but I guess he's in all of them. But yeah, I guess they're big fans of Christopher Lee, and they said this was their Christopher Lee. I mean, that's what he's popularly known for there. Also, the star came out in some familiar films. He came out in the Shogun Assassin, and he came out on an Ichi meets Yojimbo. He's in that film. I didn't know that.
Are we talking about the main star of Lone Wolf and Cub?
I don't know. It's his name's, like I said, his name's Shin Kishida, and he's in all those films.
Okay,
but
so it's not
him. I couldn't pinpoint his character, but
because Shogun Assassin is the re-edit of Lone Wolf and Cub 1 and 2, I think.
It's like the American version or something like that.
Yeah.
They sent, the U.S. version. But he died at the age of 43 from esophageal cancer.
Yeah.
So he died really young. But yeah, he does an excellent job as Dracula, man. I could see how he could be the Christopher Lee for Tokyo, because he even looks menacing. He has that look too, like to play Dracula. Yeah, this film, I liked it a lot. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I want to watch the other ones on here. I guess there's a Lake of Dracula and the Vampire Doll. So
I had no idea those were Japanese movies.
Yeah, and they're I got on the sale, the Aerosale, the last Aerosale.
Damn. Well, the last Aerosale I did was the box set, and I got like 7 box sets, so I'm good for a while. I actually drew from 2 of them tonight.
Yeah, I recommend this film if you like that Hammer horror. It has that feel to it. Real creepy. But it's pretty much all I got to say on that film. But my type of stuff, because I'm a horror fan. I like that stuff.
I'm going to have to check it out, because I had no idea it was Japanese. Because my brain went, oh, Bloodthirsty. Oh, it's going to be like Hammer movies, which I don't know anything about. And I just keep going for Japanese movies. And here I am avoiding a Japanese series because I thought it wasn't. So I got to fix that.
I looked it up. It's on the Japanese list, so I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, it was the Japanese sale, right? Then?
It was the one before that, but I mean,
okay.
The films are on it. Because I looked up Japanese films and it was under it, so I'm pretty sure it's Japanese. Pretty sure.
Well, awesome.
But yeah, that's the first one. I mean, it was the decent one, but I mean above decent, I'd say, because I did enjoy it.
I am flip-flopping right now on what my number 2 is going to be. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to switch it. Yeah, here we go. So, one of the box sets that I got during this sale was the Graveyards Without Honor, or Graveyard of Honor. Of Honor, yeah. This is another Kenji Fukusaki movie. I was really close to doing all 3 Kenji movies, but I was like, nah, we gotta mix it up. This was the first one that he did, and the sequel, which is still in the box, that's a Takashi Miike movie. It's a remake. It's like over 2 hours long. But I loved this movie. It was my number 1, but honestly, my other one's gonna inch out for a very particular reason that we all know already. This is a 1976 movie. Again, it's the guy who made Battle Royale and the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series, Kenji Fukasaku. The intro is like a newspaper thing, like footage going on, where we're getting voiceovers and we're getting like newspaper being shown. And it's like, oh, you know, murders and gangs and not yokais, yakuzas, all of them. And it talks about this guy named Ishikawa, who apparently was a real guy. He was a real gangster. And this movie is all about him, about his real life crime career. And they do it in order of like when he was born all the way to his death. And I had no idea he was a real person. So as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is a really cool story. And then I looked him up afterwards, and I was like, oh, this is all true. This all happened. Like, all this horrible stuff that was happening. But, we get, like, testimonials from people he knew in real life. And they all talk about him, like, growing up and how he was such a crybaby. He cried at everything. He lost his mom when he was super young. So that's why kind of what the nurses and the orphanage thought, why he was always such a crybaby. And they said as he grew up, he wanted to be part of the Yakuza, like since the age of like 8 years old or something. Like he always wanted to be in the Yakuza. And so we get all this different just interviews with neighborhood friends, parents who happen to see him, orphanage employees, like all these different testimonials, all about the real life guy. And then we see this amazing intro where we see this like really cocky guy who ends up being this Ishikawa character or person from real life. And he's like heckling a bunch of South Koreans because they're selling like shoe leather. And they keep taking people's shoes and they purposely cut the soles off the shoes because they're like, oh, your leather's awful. And they cut it off. And they're like, oh, we'll give you new ones. And they force them to pay for new shoes. That's how they kind of make their money. And this Ishikawa guy causes this huge fight. Police run in and there's all this stuff. And the one reason why I decided to switch the ranking is that we do get dog cooking scenes in this movie. Mostly right in the beginning where they're in the market and there's butchers and... Excuse me. That whiskey's hitting. But he's going through the market and he's like, oh, they're like doing establishing shots of the market. And we see like a dog's head, like a real dog's head of like a chihuahua, like just sitting there, and the rest of the skeleton like covered in blood. And there's like dead dogs hanging in the back, like real ones. And so that was pretty upsetting. That was one reason I put it down just slightly below number 1. But the rest of the movie was like perfect. But we get an amazing intro song. All these movies have amazing intro songs. I don't know if yours did, but all 3 of mine did. It was awesome.
So, some did, not my first film, but on other ones, yeah.
Yeah, and one of them, a specific person sang it, and I was very happy because they're a great singer. But he ends up getting arrested along with his gang who was helping him kind of heckle all the South Korean and foreigners. And as he's getting arrested, he's able to get away, and he kind of traps this other woman. And is like, hey, I have all this money that I stole from the South Koreans. Hold on to it. I'll come back. And she's like, I don't even know you. Who are you? And she works at a brothel, I believe. And so she's like, okay, I guess I'll hold on to it so I don't die when he comes back. And so he comes back after 8 years of being in prison because I'm making sure it was Because he goes to prison multiple times. Okay, I think it was this time. So he goes to prison, and he's there for 8 years, and they give another testimonial thing from prisoners who were with him at the prison. And they talk about how, like, everybody fell in place so fast because he was just a natural leader. And everyone was like, oh shit, there he is, don't fuck with him. Anytime he showed up in the prison. But, he, like, organizes a giant jailbreak with everybody, and right before they do it, the cops come in, they're like, hey, we need you and your 2 other friends. And they're like, okay, and they show up, and he's like, okay, here's the keys to the cells. We need y'all to, like, jailbreak, because we don't have enough money to feed all of you. And we don't really care, and your boss, like, threatened my family, so you have to, like, escape. So here's the keys. Pretend like you aren't gonna escape. Okay, see ya never. Have a good life. And then they just walk away, and they break out. And he goes back to the woman, and he's like, okay, what's my money? And she has it, and they slowly start to fall in love. This movie is basically like Battles Without Honor and Humanity, except instead of this guy being kind of pulled by all these different gangs, it's all his gang member friends saying, why aren't you the boss? You should be the boss, and he has no interest in doing it. But a big thing that they talk about in the actual documentary sections is that someone in the prison with him over those 8 years said that they heard him say, like, I'm just like a balloon. I'm always expanding until I pop. And so it's basically like the Wolf of Wall Street is how I viewed this character, where he was just going to keep rising and rising until he had this massive fall from grace. And he does. And I alluded to it earlier, but this movie takes place in the city of Shinjuku. And to give some slight historical context, this city was basically ruled by the Yakuza forever. For like 100 years or something. Something crazy. A lot of gang movies take place in this city because that's just how it was in real life in the 60s and 70s and all of that. And Takashi Miike made a whole trilogy based on it called the Black Society trilogy, which Arrow has also done, which I actually did a ranking on somewhere on my channel. So. It includes Shinjuku Triad Society, Stray Dog, I believe, and Ley Lines are the 3 movies. They're all pretty good. Shinjuku Triad Society is Takashi Miike's first movie ever. I did a Withering Watchpile entry with that movie, and it was afterwards I found out it was his first movie, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this movie a lot more then. I thought it was just like another one that he did. No, it was his original. But, this movie is pretty awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Sounds good.
What's funny is that we have a couple scenes where we get to see historical events, such as when all these gang bosses found out that they could legalize themselves by running for, like, city government. And so they would relocate, like, just outside the major city and, like, form, like, a small jurisdiction and then become, like, a city councilor. And then they went back into the city and they would try to alliance together and take over the city. And it was just like, because they wanted to form their own laws and not get arrested eventually. Which they all did, I think, in the 80s. There was a huge Yakuza, whatever, breakdown or whatever. of all the Yakuzas in Japan. But our main character blows up the boss's car at some point of the movie, and that's when things just go insane. Because everyone's bending over backwards for this guy because he's like so awesome and he's constantly just getting better and better. Maneuvering himself to stay up on top, but not the boss. He always wants to be second in command. And there's a great sequence where just before he lights the boss's car on fire, he gets drunk, and no, actually it's after the car explosion, because he gets beat up by the gang and they're like, okay, send him home. And so he goes home and gets super fucking drunk and goes back to the boss's house. And the entire time the camera is following where he's leaning as he's like drunkenly walking. So the camera's like whoosh, whoosh, like all this stuff. And it was so awesome. It was one of my favorite sequences of the movie. And after that, it just goes insane. And I don't have any other notes outside of the fact that this movie won the Blue Ribbon Award, which I don't know anything about, but I looked it up, and it's the Japanese equivalent of the Oscars, basically, or the Golden Globes. And it won for Best Director. And I completely agree. And this movie was really great. I kind of loved it, but there were those little bits that I didn't like personally, like the hanging dogs, like real dogs. It wasn't like puppets or anything. That was upsetting. The main star is really good, but I don't really know him. My last movie, I know the star very, very well, and I'm giving her my #1 spot just because I love her. So.
What's his name? What's the main star's name? Do you know his name?
Let me see. Tetsuya Watari. He was also in the Outlaw Gangster VIP series, which I don't know if you've seen, but those are like 1960s gangster movies. They're really good. I've only seen the first one. There's a box set by Arrow. It's the blue one. It's like a bluish.
I'm gonna have to pick those up. I like those kind of films.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I did know this guy. But yeah, it is based off of this guy, Rikio Ishikawa. I didn't realize it was based on a new guy. And at the beginning, they were like, there are slight exaggerations in the story, but everything else is true. And I was like, what? I was like, that has to be a joke. That's not real. And I looked it up afterwards. I was like, no, this guy's real. Okay, never mind. He, I don't know if it's a spoiler to say his ultimate fate, but his story can be summed up as he called himself a balloon, where he constantly got, bigger and bigger, and he kept, rising and rising until he popped. So even then, it's awesome.
That kind of life makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Yakuza movie. Don't get attached.
Yeah.
I will say the woman that he tasks on holding on to his money, he ends up marrying her, and they have a really great relationship throughout the movie, where they only see each other every few years, but they marry in order to get like protection for each other, because this woman kept getting heckled by the brothel owner and was being like, oh, you don't have a husband, no one can stand up for you. And he like got really mad about this and was like, I'll marry you. And she's like, I don't even know you, I don't even like you. He actually rapes her at one point in the movie, like when he first meets her, and then it's like, okay, now hold on to my money. And she's just like, I guess I won't die if I hold on to his money. He'll kill me if I do, if I spend it or get rid of it. And eventually they fall in love and all that. I don't know if that's like Stockholm Syndrome or not, but
yeah,
it was interesting to see that they actually did that in a movie like this. Usually it's like he's just beat. Well, I guess he did rape her, but See, I'm used to the, they're already married. They don't get married in these movies. They're either celibate, or not celibate, but they aren't married, or they're already married. So it was nice that they actually had a plot dedicated to getting married
during the film.
In this type of life.
Yeah.
So I would love to see the remake and see how that is. I debated on doing it for this one, but I didn't want to end up hating it, because Miike can make a really good serious movie or a very outlandish movie. Sometimes he tries to do both. And he did that with the yokai movie that's in the box set. And I loved it once I kind of got away from it and thought about it. But after finishing it and doing my ranking video, I was kind of like, it's okay. Somebody gave Takashi Miike way too much money to just do whatever he wanted. And you can see that. But, I mean, it was good.
Yeah, I gotta still see that. I have that box set, man. I see one film out of it. That's it. Which I like.
They're really good, yeah. The second one is basically Power Rangers. The third one is a little closer to the original one, but still Power Rangers. And the third one, or the fourth one, is Takashi Miike craziness. So.
Yeah, prepared for it. For the insanity.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's my second movie. I'm going to put it back in my...
I have that box set. I just haven't watched it.
I love the set. Yeah, it's awesome.
Uh-huh.
I really love the cases on here. It's very firm.
That's a great job Arrow does on those, man. Alright, so I'll get into my second film here, I guess, here. So, this is going to be, and it's crazy because you told me it's Miko Kashi's birthday, so I got one of her films here. Oh. It's going to be 1970's Blind Woman's Curse.
Oh, okay, thank God. We didn't get the same one.
Okay, we didn't get the same one. I was worried about
But I love that movie. That's one of my favorites.
So, I don't have a picture to show of it, but because I watched it on the Arrow app, but there's a picture of it right here.
It's as if I was never gone.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You have a copy. So, so
as I sprinted across
to her, man, because
Meiko Kaji, I love her.
And I probably said her name wrong, so. Anyways, this is a female Yakuza tale, and she plays the character of Kimi. Probably said that wrong, but. And this film starts off very superstitious. You got like a battle's going on. You have these. They're brutally slicing and dicing in this one, and then you see like this lady just yell, "Stop! That's no." She says my brother, so she goes over there to, get in the way, and Akemi, it's Kaji, so she slices her on accident, her eyes.
Oh yeah.
And you just see like blood dripping, and afterwards she's screaming. The girl's screaming, and then you see a black cat come and just he's drinking her blood out of her eyes, and Akemi says, "I'm cursed." She believes she's cursed. That's where the superstition comes in.
Here's the cat.
Yeah, the cat. Real menacing in this film.
I love this movie. So.
Yeah. Anyways, Akemi pretty much goes to prison for this. She's in prison, and they're all sleeping, and the girls start to mess with her. Start to challenge her inside the jail. And she's like real calm. They're like, "Why is she so calm? We're about to attack her." So she takes off her shirt and shows her Yakuza dragon symbol, and all of them just bow down. They're like, "Oh no, we won't mess with that brand or whatever," and that gang. And all of them just start to follow her around, and she's like, "Good, I didn't want to kill all." She's like real calm. "I didn't want to have to kill anyone." And they're like, "Oh, there goes my camera." Anyways, I really like the dragon symbol. Even with her gang, when they unite, it forms like a dragon. I thought that was real cool.
That's an awesome. I love that beginning where they're all together and they're like shuffling their feet, and the dragon is like dancing.
Yeah, like
oh, it's awesome.
It's freaking, yeah, wicked, man. And anyways, we got this character she runs into. He's this tough guy, Mr. Tanny, is his name. And this is my favorite character in the film. He's like this tough guy, and you know he's real humble, but don't get on his bad side. And there's an attack happening where, I mean, he pretty much goes to the rescue and helps him out. And he's like, they're talking about his parents. He has a real bad past. He lost both his parents. He's real on the road a lot, and you could right away tell that's the love interest of Akemi. She looks at him, and I mean her eyes glow. And she knows he's a tough guy, and he'll back her up. She likes that. So, anyways, they separate. We get into a battle. We got some blood spray kills in this. And what's really odd about this film is we got this other character, and she's real bizarre, real quiet, man, tough as hell, man. She joins this gang. She's helping them to get, and she's pretty much killing Akemi's gang. And we'll the reason why. Oh, bless you there, man.
Sorry.
But she has this house, like it's real, goes horror, kind of like horror aspects, and it's bizarre. You have like these half-naked ladies walking on top of roofs, and
was that the like figurine stuff?
Yeah, like the figurine stuff, and then you got like.
That's when my brain stops paying attention in that movie. That part just weirds me out so much, because
it's so weird.
It's like I love that movie, but at that point, my brain just fogs over. So I'm like, what is going on? I mean, they do say it's a erotic ghost story, which it is. I mean, and that definitely, I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah, it's horror elements for sure in that one, and that's her home. It turns out it's this mysterious woman's home that's working with the other gang, and she's got this sidekick, and it's real. This is what I love about Japanese cinema. They bring this oddball characters. You got this guy that's a hunchback, and he's real weird. No, and he just goes crawling, and he's taking these dead bodies that are around, and he's eating.
Oh yeah,
he's eating the freaking flesh, dude. And I'm like, that is so. That's fucking cool, dude. And you'll just see a body die, and then he comes out, and he's dragging him down the thing and licking his lip chops and everything. Like, I got dinner. It's just real bizarre cannibalism. But yeah, I like that. And it's funny because we got a Zatoichi gambling sequence where that Mr. Tanny goes in there and busts the cheaters. He busts the dice and finds a little medal. It reminded me a lot of the Zatoichi series there that we watched. And he's pretty much he fucks all these dudes up, starts hitting them, and this Mr. Tanny's not one to mess around with. So yeah, anyways, it leads to the fight between these two gangs. The thing about this film, it's a small notch, but I didn't take it. You don't see a lot of Kaji in this film. She's on the back, like the side, which I mean, it leads up to the ending where she doesn't want to fight. She believes that she's cursed, and if she goes to fight by this cat, that she's gonna die. So I mean, you have a lot of other side characters taking over, but yeah, it leads up to the final battle between these gangs, and it takes this final showdown between Kaji and the strange woman. I'm not gonna say why, the reason. If you've seen it, you probably know why. But they meet up at the end, and they're like in a Wild West showdown. Like they're just standing there with their swords, and you get the fight. You'll find the reason why. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I mean, I have no complaints about it. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Solid 4 out of 5.
Oh yeah.
But man, she never disappoints, man. Maiko Kaji, man, and even though she's I wouldn't say she's not shown throughout this film as much as her other films, but it turns out with an ending that's satisfying. But the music in this is awesome, and yeah, enjoyed that one a lot. So that's my second. I was going back and forth between it, but I just love the next film, so I had to put it a little notch up.
Well, I can't wait for my history lesson on this one. It's a really short one, but
okay.
On my number one. My number one is a Meiko Kaji film. If you don't know,
Nice.
And we've already said it. Her birthday was on Thursday, the 24th. I guess. Today's Saturday. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, big props to her. I love her. I've seen... There are 6 movies in the Stray Cat Rock series. There's Lady Snowblood. That's 2 movies, so 8 movies. I've seen her in... What else has she been?
I love Lady Snowblood. I love that movie.
Blind Woman's Kiss. That you just talked about. I've seen like 10, 12 movies or so. And I found one that I haven't seen yet. So this is from the amazing box set that I just got. Female Prisoner Scorpion. It's not wholly translatable into English, but it's amazing. I love this box set art. I was so scared I was just going to get like a shitty like disc with like 5 discs in one. Nope. They still do these, thankfully. It's a standard edition though, which sucks. But I did the first movie. I have the Japanese cover up front, but so this is 1972, 2 years after Blind Woman's Curse. Blind Woman's Curse is her first major role that she did. This movie is the first time she became a breakout star. So this movie is exactly the same as every other woman in prison film. And I've already said multiple times the last week or so, mostly in my video for Reformed Schoolgirls, where I said there are very few good prison movies outside of Shawshank and Rikio. And this is a new one that I love. This is Female Prisoner... No. The name of this one is Female Prisoner 701... Scorpion. I call it Female Prisoner Scorpion. But this movie is basically about Meiko Kaji and a friend of hers who tried to escape prison. They get hunted down by cops. They kidnap her and her friend. And they bring her back to prison, and all the females in the prison are like, "Oh, you got caught, idiot. Ha! You'll never get out of here." And it's every prison movie ever. You've seen it. Except it has the Japanese flair of the amazing surrealistic lighting. There's an amazing sequence at one point in the movie where I'm trying to find it. It's much later, actually. So I'll just go in order. So she goes back to the prison, and we get an amazing intro scene that is sung by Meiko Kaji. She is a really great singer also. Nowadays, she's just on YouTube doing singing. I haven't been able to find it, but I've been hearing about it, and nobody will send it, and I want to see it. It might just be in Japanese. That's probably why I haven't seen it, because I'm typing it in English on YouTube. But she goes back, and we get the intro song that she sings, and all the women are walking into prison completely naked, and there are jungle bars stuff. You can kind of see it here on the left. Near her face with a kind of... Okay, here they go. That light glare is fascinating. They're all walking there up the stairs naked. They have these, like, jungle, like, loop stuff. Like on the playground, those jungle gems.
Yeah, those bars.
Yeah, they have those bars, like, every other foot, so nobody can run and try to escape. It's kind of cool looking. It's a great visual. But, she gets back into prison, everybody's pestering her, and someone's like, "Hey, new prisoner, you're gonna become her new lover. You need to earn her trust so that you can kind of tell us what she's planning in terms of escaping and this, that, and the other." And she's like, "Okay." And so So while that's happening, Meiko Kaji is having a flashback in which she's talking with the new love interest woman. This is actually a very pro-gay film, actually. Now that I'm realizing it. There's a lot of woman-on-woman going on. Lots of lesbian representation, which it's kind of shocking in the 70s.
That's a prison life, probably.
Yeah. But she's kind of telling this love interest kind of her life after a few times trying to just connect with Meiko Kaji. And she's like, so where'd you come from, Meiko Kaji? That's not what they call her, obviously. But she's like, oh yeah, I fell in love with the businessman who was actually a cop. And he asked me to infiltrate a gang, but in reality, he was selling me into sex, traffic or whatever. He was selling me for sex. And we get this very stylized scene that uses, like, theater lighting, where it has the spotlights from above pointing down at everyone, and it, like, goes, like, vroom, with, like, 5 different lights focused on, like, one person, and then spreads out to all the people. To like who are about to rape Meiko Kaji, because you can't have a Japanese crime film without rape. Yeah. And she gets raped by them, and the camera is below everybody, and they're all on like glass flooring, and you see her like looking down like past the glass while she's getting raped, and all the men are right there. It's a really kind of cool shot with how like they actually built like a glass room in order to make all the scenes. But yeah, so she's caught instantly, she gets raped, sold to the prison. And at one point, the love interest woman is told to hide a knife in Meiko Kaji's shirt while they're taking a shower. And so they have all the shirts on the bench or whatever, like a locker room. And so the love interest puts a knife in her shirt, and then Meiko Kaji knows this and figures it out, and then uses it to stab somebody else on accident. And this woman freaks the fuck out. It was the original woman who told the love interest to go hide the knife and get Meiko Kaji in trouble. And this woman's like, oh, fuck you, like, you stabbed me. And it goes, like, full-on horror movie, where all the lights just shut off immediately, except for one that is pointing, like, straight down, so that her shadows are going down her own face. And they have, like, makeup face paint on to make it look like a demon. And she's like, I'm gonna get you, Kaji. She doesn't say that, she says the character's name, but it's Meiko Kaji. And she's like, I'm gonna get you. And then she does this, and she's not running. She's on like a trolley or something that you can't see, where she's like just coming right at you.
Soaring, yeah.
Yeah, and she's not walking or anything, because you can usually tell if someone's running at, But in this, she's just on like a cot, and they're pushing her, like right outside of camera focus. And it is so awesome. The music gets really weird. It's like in Martin, when he goes into the house with the husband and wife, and she's like, oh, no. It's the husband who's away on a business trip in Martin. And she has a secret boyfriend, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Is this your wife? And she's like, I don't know him. And that music just, it's like the scariest thing ever. Imagining being that woman, and the guy you're cheating with is like thinking that's your husband. And I love that sequence. I don't know why I'm talking about it.
That seems awesome.
And then they have that really bizarre telephone, that beep, beep, boop, 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 like all that stuff. I can't wait for that Second Sight 4K.
Me too.
I cannot wait. They need to get a hold of that director's cut, the 3-hour cut that's never been seen, the black and white.
I have the DVD, but it's It doesn't do it justice.
I don't even have the DVD.
We need that 4K transfer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that scene is one of my favorites in this movie. And then so as punishment for Meiko Kaji slicing this woman up. Oh, and also before she does the, oh, I'm gonna get you, Kaji, she runs after Meiko Kaji in the prison. And Meiko Kaji's pretending like, you know, oh, I don't see you, running straight at me. And she, like, slips through the door to the shower. And this woman's about to open it. And Meiko Kaji quickly opens it and then punches the door right back. And her enemy's head completely goes through the glass. And so she starts bleeding. Nice. And so that adds to the paint job, I guess, that she has on her face. And that's when she goes, I'm gonna get you, whatever. And it's awesome. I love that part. And so everyone's getting punished, and they have to go dig a giant hole out in the prison yard. It's just like Riki-Oh, actually, honestly. Just replace the main star of that with Meiko Kaji and tone down the violence, and you've got it. But so they fill up a big hole, and the boyfriend, Love, who is the guy who sold Meiko Kaji to slavery, he shows up and tells one of the prisoners, like, hey, why isn't my girlfriend dead yet? Kill her, fuckers.
Oh, shit.
And so she's like, oh, I'm gonna go fall in love with her and pretend like I fall in love with her, and I'll kill her for you, boyfriend. And so she starts to kind of fake being interested in Meiko Kaji, but then actually falls in love with Meiko Kaji. And we get actually a few sex scenes between them two, a full-on kissing and like humping and everything. And I'm like, wow, they actually had the bravery to do that in the 70s. That's kind of amazing. And
that's amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
During that time period. Well, it was a sleaze period, but
yeah, maybe it's not for representation purposes.
Yeah.
But ends up that woman who is trying to seduce Meiko Kaji is also a cop that works with the boyfriend. And he's like, oh, you failed in your job. And she's like, oh, I quit. And he's like, yeah, you do. And then kills her. And it's like, wait, what? And then we go back to them digging a hole, because they do this for like 2 days straight, because the idea is that nobody can stop digging this hole until Meiko Kaji passes out. And so they're digging a hole, and she will not pass out at all. She hasn't even looked like she's tired yet, and everyone else is like dying of like exhaustion. And so they're like, you know what, we're sick of this, we're gonna rebel. And then it turns into House from 1977, where the sky turns completely red and there's blue cyclones in the sky, like hurricane shapes, and you get the most bizarre, surreal music ever, like acid rock or like prog rock, like the 90s. It's basically like Go Die Go from House, the people who did the music for that. And it goes absolutely insane. And then we get the famous Meiko Kaji in a very sexy outfit. Where it's not even like sexy. It's more just like very, it's like sexy in terms of like, oh my god, that is so awesome looking. I think on the other side of the disc it has it. No,
she's
it doesn't.
An attractive woman, man.
Oh yeah. But she's basically in a full black, like leather thing with this comically large hat, and she has it in a bunch of movies. In the Stray Cat Walk series, she has it. Where she
I've seen that on the cover of that, yeah. Yeah,
she wears a bunch of clothing like that in all her movies. And it's always awesome. Like Stray Cat Walk especially, she has like cowboy outfits. She has like dominatrix outfits and like all this stuff. And this one, she does it also. But the difference between this movie and Blind Woman's Curse is that you talked about how little she was in Blind Woman's Curse, and that's because that was her first major role, and that she was kind of the first, I guess, actor listing on the credits. And then for this movie, it was especially for Meiko Kaji, because this was her first like worldwide hit. So.
Oh, okay.
And somebody figured out that she's really good at singing. Because from here on out, she does all her singing on her own for all the theme songs. So Stray Cat Walk, she does all the songs for that one too.
And that's rare to have the star singing also.
Yeah, I mean, we had Zatoichi sing a few, like 2 songs of his. And that was mostly him just kind of not rapping, but just kind of speaking into the mic. But I will give Quentin Tarantino some credit. He did get Meiko Kaji to come in for Kill Bill and sing the theme song for it. I'll give him that.
At least.
Even though 99% of that movie is a copy from Lady Snowblood, Blind Woman's Curse. Yeah. Literally any Meiko Kaji movie. At least he gave her, you know, a big part of that movie. And probably gave her a giant paycheck. Because that movie made all the money. So he was probably like, I'll give you 1% of the earnings. And that's like $1 million right there. So. Yeah. I loved it.
I'm going to have to look out for those, man. They sound really interesting. I've never seen them.
I haven't seen the other movies. So I'm curious.
Definitely going to add that to the list.
So, yeah. Also, the director of Blind Woman's Curse is Teruo Ishii, and I just picked up a bunch of movies by him. So,
oh, nice.
All anthology films. And it's like 4 different anthology movies. Films. Yeah. And it all has to do with 1800s and sex. So, that's the movies like Inferno of Torture, Yakuza Law, Orgies of Edo, those movies. So that's
bunch of films I want to see, for sure.
I meant to watch them for this episode, but they were all 1960s, so I couldn't. They were like 69. I was like, is that close enough? Nah, it's not 70.
Awesome. I'm adding that to the list of my box sets. Female Scorpion box set.
It's a good box set. It's one that I thought was out of print, because nobody has this in their collection. Everybody I know who I watch and look at the collection, they don't have these movies.
I think Ragman did. He just did a collection video now.
Oh, did he?
On Arrow. You should check it out on YouTube. I think he had that one.
So it's 2 of us have it.
Yeah.
That's all I've seen. I think Will has it too, but I don't know.
I sure don't, but I want to add it.
I'm a big simp, I guess, for Meiko Kaji. I will give her all my money. She's still alive, I think. She better be.
Oh, yeah. I think she is. She's like in her 70s right now.
I'm going to look her up. Her birthday was just this Thursday. She is 75. Wow.
Time flies, man.
She's 5'4", so I'm taller than her. That's good. What's your first movie?
Let's get into the one that blew me away here. I'm going to go with these are all Arrow too. I just realized I did all Arrow too.
They have a lot.
I watched Street Mobster from 1972, and this is directed by Kenji Fukasaku, who you've been talking about.
Oh, Kenji Fukasaku, yeah.
Kenji, I forgot that.
Oh my gosh.
Kenji Fukasaku.
We covered like 3 of his movies.
So I got one in too in the list here.
Half of our movies were Kenji Fukasaku. We should have just renamed it Kenji Fukasaku episode. Damn.
Yeah. You mentioned he directed Battle Royale. This is a gangster mobster movie, and we get into our main character. Man, this guy is just nuts. His name is Isamu Okita in the movie, and I'm just gonna get into his profile because this is how it starts. It's like born fatherless. Mom was a hooker. He loved beer and women. He sucked at gambling. It says this in the film. It shows him losing at gambling, and he's like smacking the table. And then he becomes a pimp. He starts hooking women. That's his profession. So he's just this bad guy just out the gate. You're like, oh, okay. We got this grimy gangster dude right away at the bat. But it right away starts with him getting jumped by a gang. They're all beating him up, and he's fighting back, man. He's knocking them. And he ends up getting caught for hooking these women, sent to prison. But anyways, he starts he gets thrown in prison. He's in there, and right away gets into some rival gangs or guys that didn't like him. So they're all punching each other. I love these Japanese films because it's like so over the top. They go like fast, and you just see like punches and slaps and kicks. It's just it's awesome. No, and then
you get the big reaction shots where they're like, ah, and it's like,
yeah, because he's on the ground. He's getting kicked and punched. He's just like, he's with this grin like, oh.
And anytime there's a slash, it's not like, oh no, there's blood going on. It's like a hose.
Like a hose, or
it's just like going crazy.
You'll see a claw going down their face or something like that. But as he's getting pretty much beat up in the jail, this guy comes to his rescue, and he's this quiet, kind of cross-eyed dude, and he has razors in his hands. In the prison, he has like 2 blades, and he just goes, man, slicing them up, and they're like running away, like with claws. And this gangster dude looks at him. That's my kind of guy. So he teams up with him. So he's like, he saved his life because they're like killing him. But anyways, they become buds. They get out of jail. They're going out of the jail, and he's like thanking him, and then there's a lady waiting there, and he's like, that's not for me. Is that your wife? And he's like, yeah. And he's all right. And then he looks at her, and he sees that she has a scar across her face where he sliced his wife. So he's like, this guy's kind of abusive and crazy, but it's not my business.
This is where I draw the line.
So he walks away. He's like, none of my business. You know.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked.
But he, anyways, he gets out of jail, and he's right away like, finds this crew of like starving guys. They walk around, and they're just fighting and trying to survive and doing illegal stuff. But anyways, they run into this guy that he's got kicked out of the gang. There's 2 gangs that are rivalries. I forgot their names, but they're this guy got kicked out. He's kind of like a loner. So he goes up to this guy, and he realizes he's tough. So he tells him, let's start our own gang. So they're like drinking and talking about it at the bar, and he tells him, well, he looks at him. No, this guy's mean. This mean guy, he's crazy. And he looks at him. He's like, well, who's the leader? And he looks at him with this look. He's all, you're the leader. I'm just here. You know, we're starting a gang. He's all, okay. And he gets a cigarette, smokes it, you know. So they go around and start harassing this gang that's real dangerous. They go to a restaurant, man, and just ambush it. Just break windows. They're hitting people. And it's a gang hangout now. All of a sudden, you just see the whole gang come out, the leaders, and they start running. They're like, shit, we're outnumbered or whatever. Start running, and then you see them pretty much getting harassed. They run. This gang's got him cornered, and all of a sudden, another gang comes up and protects them. And then he starts to respect this guy, this crazy guy, the leader of that gang, because he's like me when I was younger, you know. I respect him. So he brings him in, and he tells him, well, you know, we got your back. You just got to join our gang. And this guy's like, I join no gang. I follow no one. He pretty much, he disrespects him in front of his whole gang, this leader. And like one of those guys like, should I kill him? And he's like, no, don't kill him. He's like, I like him. He's me when I was younger. He's not scared of anyone or whatever. So he pretty much looks out for him. Starts to get more menacing. He runs into a prostitute. Okay, I need to rewind. The reason he got thrown in prison is because he raped a woman, him and guys on the street. I forgot to mention this.
All of our movies have rape.
Yeah, this has rape. And he runs into her again, and she's a prostitute now. And he ends up pretty much trying to rape her again, but she slices him across the face with a blade. And he's like, he falls in love with her because he's never been like sliced. So
a new kink was awakened.
Yeah, she's all, you don't remember me? And then he remembers, it's the girl I raped. I went to jail for, or whatever. And anyways, she follows him back, and she's like, the reason I don't kill you or whatever because you're attractive, and they get it on. I guess she liked him, so they fall in love. He falls in love with the prostitute, similar to your story on that other film. And he pretty much tells her, well, I've never had a family. And he's all, my mom never sent me lunch or cooked for me or anything. So she cooks for him, and he's like, that's when he falls in love with her. He's like, man, this woman, I've never had a woman cook for me. So he's like, whatever. But anyways, it goes on with these gangs fighting back and forth. Where he got jumped, he walks into this like hot tub sauna where all this gang that jumped him is in there, and he just gets in there with a blade and starts slicing them up left and right in the back. It's awesome,
like Satuichi.
Yeah, and you see blood spray and all this stuff, and he walks and he's all, that's what you get for whatever you did to me. He walks out of there, and it starts a battle between these two gangs or whatever, and it goes back and forth, but he starts to realize like he's in over his head because he's a guy that he doesn't give a shit about anything, and like this older gangster that's protecting him tells him, you know what, you need to respect a little more, and we'll look out for you, whatever. And he's like, heck with you, whatever. And later on, it pretty much leads to his demise as the other more gangs come in and they want to kill him. He has to go hide out in these like dirty places, man. They're sleeping in these places that like a junkyard because all these gangs are after him or whatever from disrespecting. But it leads to a final finale there that I love, man. It's just straight out crazy, man. It reminded me a lot of a Bruce Lee film. Like where he's running on Chinese Connection, where he's running out. He knows he's doomed. Everyone's got him surrounded, so he's just running out, like going at him, and he knows it's his, the downfall or whatever. But I really love that. And then there's a story, where you feel for the guy, man. He's lived a hard life. I mean, his mom was a hooker. He didn't know his dad. He lived on the streets. That was his life. And then we have the woman prostitute he's in love with that brings him lunch, so he's like in love with her. He's never had like a mother figure that would cook for him or anything. And I mean, there's some tragic situations that lead him into his situation where he goes crazy, man. At the end, it's a bloodbath. That's all I'm gonna say. But man, this film I love, man. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. This is my type of film, and like I said, that ending, I was like, what? I was like, this has got some Chinese Connection if it was a gangster movie. But yeah, this film blew me away, man. Street Mobster. And it's an Arrow video. There's a cover right there. I don't know if there's a glare. I can see that. That's the Arrow video edition. It's a little glary there.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. 5 out of 5 for me on that one, man. Everything I want in a film. I mean, you got the guy you feel bad for, but then he's just a bad guy. He's not going to change. But he has a heart. It's just he doesn't show it.
Well, you definitely need to check out Graveyard of Honor then. Because it's the exact same plot.
When you were talking about that, I was like, that's the film I watched.
I really thought we were going to have repeats on this one. Because I told you, I was like, watching Meiko Kaji. It's her birthday today.
Yeah.
I didn't think you would. And I was like, oh, wait, which one did he watch? Wait, what does he have?
And then you were saying her birthday, and then you said Blind Woman's Curse was like one of your favorite. I was like, damn, that's the movie I got, but I can't say.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't going to watch that one. Because I was like, I need to watch new stuff. Like, I thought about revisiting Stray Cat Rock. Because the first one I didn't really like, but I didn't get it. Why that movie? Because that movie is very much just people wandering around being delinquents in Tokyo.
Yeah.
in the 80s while Meiko Kaji is in like the most awesome outfits ever. And she's singing all the songs, and it's like a Rudy Ray Moore type of thing where she's always the DJ / like, I don't know, DJ / bodyguard.
Yeah.
So
I gotta watch those Rudy Ray Moore films soon, man. I'm gonna get into them.
I need to finish them because I've seen the first and the last one multiple times, Dolomite and Disco Godfather, but I haven't seen Petey Wheatstraw or Human Tornado. And I just got his audio not audio because he didn't do it, but I got his biography yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I'm so excited for that. Oh my god. It's a big book. It's like 600 pages.
Wow.
Like, it's huge. All about his life. Not just movies, but
that's going to be interesting.
It's almost sold out. The author actually commented on my post a while ago because I was kind of like, hey, I just watched Rudy Ray Moore. And someone was asking me if I'd gotten the biography yet. And I was like, no, I haven't. And then the author himself came in and was like, hey, we're 80% sold out. You need to get it now, like, before it sells out.
Yeah.
And so I was like, shit. I immediately got it, like, yesterday.
Nice.
But, yeah.
I think I saw one. Was it on Grindhouse?
Yeah.
On there?
Yeah, it's a Grindhouse.
There, I think. Yeah.
It's like $30, I think. It's worth it, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. It's a treasure right there.
So, if there's nothing else, what shall our next topic be? I chose last time, so.
What's the topics? I forgot them.
That's fine. The first one is female-led action. The next one is shitty remakes. The next one is home invasion. Westerns. Non-franchise slashers. I just saw a perfect one tonight. Damn. Video nasties. Robots. Zombies. Criterion Collection. This is one that I added that I'll need to expand upon. But box set. So my idea with that one is that we each choose like a 3 to 4 movie box set. And we go through them. So instead of doing 3 different, totally disconnected movies, we do one box set and we kind of talk about our favorites. That was kind of my idea. The next one was Hammer Horror. The next one is Full Moon Pictures, which you suggested. And then Shaw Brothers, which I just added today, I think.
I want to kind of change it up. Maybe we could go Westerns.
Ooh. Well, I just got a big box set of them.
That'd be all right. Because I haven't seen Westerns in a long time.
I never watch Westerns, so.
Me neither.
That's a good choice.
I do. But there's some I want. One I want to revisit, and then I want to keep some first-time watches also. So.
Well, perfect. Well, that was a lot faster than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me here, Christian. It's always a blast, man. And I look forward to more, man. The good, the bad, and the ugly of the films, since it's going to be Western.
Boo!
That's so cheesy, but I have to say
Boo!